Hi, welcome to this video. On November 3rd at 10:23 p.m. Pacific time, there is a full moon in Taurus. And this full moon will be at 11 degrees, 59 seconds of Taurus, opposite the sun in Scorpio in those same degrees. So the full moon, just looking at it within itself, is going to be having us look at what we are doing to attempt to make ourselves happy. So Taurus can sometimes focus a bit too much on the pleasures of life and the material things and all the enjoyment that can bring. And Scorpio can sometimes get caught up in materialism as well, but it's here to learn how to really delve deep into its own emotions and transform by looking within. Taurus can be about like values and what it does to be a good person and to be ethical, and they have very strong moral compass. And Scorpio may sometimes lack that area of life at times, but it's also here to learn to trust its internal compass as well, and more of its emotions. While Taurus can sometimes adopt some of these things from outside itself, and it needs to also learn how to trust its instincts. It can also be about desires and what it is you would like to manifest in your life. Scorpio can really give us that hint at what it is we really desire, and Taurus knows how to get what it wants. So this full moon could be about that as well. It's also sextile Neptune in Pisces, and Neptune is trine the sun in Scorpio. So the full moon itself is sextile Neptune, and the sun on the opposite side is trine it. So there's a strong sense of looking at our emotional state. And if you have murky emotions, then it's a good idea to go within yourself. And what I notice about water signs is if they have murky emotions, they tend to try to put a front. They don't like to let people in if they're experiencing this within themselves. But if they can go within themselves and really clear the waters, then they can be a very powerful force for healing for others. And one of the challenges of the water signs is to really clear their emotional state so they can be a healing force for others and to share their experiences, to open up about their deeper self and emotional self, so that they can create transformation in themselves and others. So this could be coming up for us in some way, this healing of sorts, and healing of other people as well by sharing your experience. And so Mars in Libra, it's at 7 degrees of Libra, is inconjunct both the moon in Taurus and Neptune in Pisces, within about 4 degrees, probably go closer to 5 degrees. But so there's a yod being formed with Mars and Libra being inconjunct both the moon and Neptune, being which are sextile each other. So Neptune can be bringing up what it is we dream about, what it is we imagine, and what it is we imagine for the world. It's really like the collective dreams, what it is we wish for things to be like collectively. And the moon in Taurus is helping us to manifest those dreams, to bring them into reality. And of course, with the moon, it is about managing your own emotions. So it could be about just how can you manage your own emotions so you can manifest this reality that you dream of. And Mars in Libra is challenging us to take action on those dreams, to embody peace and embody harmony so that the world can become a better place. So Mars in Libra, there are challenges with Mars in Libra because, well, Mars rules Aries, which is opposite of Libra. And so it can have trouble taking action at times, or it can also have trouble being decisive, especially. So it can tend to sit on the fence about things. And it also can be somewhat more passive. It's a more passive placement, and it just lacks that fire a bit. And it needs a push sometimes. So there may be perhaps some challenges that come up around this. Perhaps things just get so out of alignment with your dreams that you feel like there's no choice but to just push forward. So that's the kind of thing where Mars in Libra, maybe you've been very indecisive for a long time and all you want to do is just take action on this thing, and then you're like, oh, but there's this and this and this, so, blah, 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 right? So this could be coming up for you where it's just like, you know what, I'm getting tired of my dreams not being manifested, and I'm just going to take action on this, gosh darn it. So that could happen, possibly. And then Venus is in 25 degrees, 55 seconds of Libra, and it's opposite Uranus in 25 degrees, 54 seconds of Aries, and Uranus is retrograde right now. So they are pretty much exactly opposing on this day. So Venus opposite Uranus, so Uranus in Aries just wants to be free, to be itself, be independent, be who it is, and it just wants to break free of anything that's stopping it from being itself and feeling that sense of freedom, and even a sense of having, like-minded people around it. So there have been a lot of challenges in terms of finding like-minded people, I find. I'm not the only one who's experienced this because I've been looking, at certain things. Like, I'm not the only one who's experienced, having trouble connecting with others. But, yeah, that's been a challenge for some reason. Maybe it's just because Aries rules the self, and Uranus does rule community, but I think it's because we have to really truly find ourselves and be true to ourselves before we can be granted this sense of community with others. And, with the South Node in Aquarius and the North Node in Leo, this really confirms that, because Leo is really helping us to travel into our own hearts and express our hearts from the truest state possible, and not be so focused on, community or being like-minded with people, because maybe we've gotten a bit lost in the like-mindedness in some ways. So I know I've certainly experienced that for a time where, it was all about love and light, a little too much, a little bit of too much love and light going on. That's all you say to each other is, oh, love and light. Yeah. No, nothing wrong with that. I actually enjoy that to some degree, but I feel like I was lacking some amount of authenticity when I was in that, and I wanted to just be I just want to express who I am, and I don't even know how to do that right now. Or something, I don't know, anyway. But so I don't know where I'm going with this, but Venus is opposite Uranus right now, and Venus can be a people pleaser. It wants, Venus being in Libra can be a tendency towards wanting to please people and have them like you, and all that sort of thing. So Venus opposite Uranus is this tension between wanting to please others, especially others in relationship, and wanting to be who you really are and be very true to who you are. So this could be being brought up in some way or another, whether it's through your relationships or through just a general kind of sense that you've been, Like, who are you being? Are you being yourself? Or are you being someone that you want people to like? You know, that kind of thing. So that could be coming up. And then, yes, Venus is also sextile Saturn, which is at 24 degrees 55 seconds of Sagittarius. And Saturn is direct now. I don't know exactly when that happened or if I talked about it, but it's direct now. So just putting that out there. And I just thought it was cool because Venus is being at 25 degrees 55 seconds of Libra, and then, you know, Uranus being at 25 degrees 54 seconds of Aries, and then Sagittarius being at 24 degrees 55 seconds of Sagittarius. They're all like, you know, they're like right there, you know. That's just kind of cool that that happened to be the case on the full moon. So, sorry, I'm just totally rambling today, but I'm going to go with it. Venus is sextile Saturn, and Saturn is trine Uranus. So, Venus and Libra, sextile Saturn, and Sagittarius. Right now, it's all about commitment in relationships and being true to yourself and others within relationships. And if you haven't found a relationship, the only way that you'll really be able to be in agreement with finding one is if it's very mature, true, and committed. Like just there's no in between right now in terms of that because of Saturn. Saturn just, it wants a definition. So it's not really playing around right now. There's no messing around going on right now with that. So anyway, it's, you know, all about serious relationships right now. So if you're in a committed relationship, it may feel stronger and more solid. And if you're not in a committed relationship, you won't take anything less. That's kind of how it is. And if you are attempting to take anything less, it may be a lot more challenging right now because it's, you know, the stars are wanting you to basically be more serious in terms of that. So, hey, you know, sorry about that. Anyways, Saturn trine Uranus is really solidifying that need to be true and be true to yourself, being authentic, being as much yourself as you possibly can, and eliminating situations that are not allowing you to be yourself, and attempting to find the freedom within the structures you have in your life as well. So if certain structures are becoming too mundane, too stagnant, there may be a need to switch up your routine or just try something new. Follow your heart, listen to what you really want to do, and try not to be too rigid at this time because, you know, sometimes we have a tendency to fall into routine or into situations where we are getting sick of something, but we keep pushing ourselves to do it even if we don't want to, and all that stuff. So, I mean, Uranus is asking us to shake things up and break free of the structures that have become stagnant. So, and then, you know, they're both in fire signs, so fire does not like being in an enclosed place. It needs the air to breathe and to grow. Of course, you know, a little too much air can cause the, you know, fire to get out of control, but you know, that's another story altogether. No, but anyway, yeah, and actually, that there may be some kind of symbolism within that you may want to consider as well. So, you know, don't get too cray-cray. You know, sometimes you need structures in order to contain that fire. You know, because that could be another thing. Anyway, Venus is inconjunct Chiron in 24 degrees and 45 seconds of Pisces. And Chiron is also square Saturn in Sagittarius. So with Venus in conjunct Chiron, so on some unconscious level, there is old wounds kind of coming to the surface within relationships that may need some looking at within yourself, to be healed. Chiron is retrograde right now, so being more, internal about it may be the mode of operation at this time. So at least it could be even about the past more so. And so like your experiences with love and your experiences with relationship and what that has done for you in the present in terms of how you approach relationships. So on some level, this stuff is kind of bubbling under the surface. So it may be wise to look into it and just see, like, what is this trying to tell me, and what is it trying to tell me about what's going on right now? And yeah, I really get the feeling that it's more from the past rather than present, but it could be, related to what's happening in the present in terms of, why you're making the choices you make now, and, what choices you made in the past that led you up to the choices you're making now. And so kind of looking at that in like a whole review kind of way, like kind of looking at everything, like the dynamics of what that has created for you in your current situation. And then Chiron being square Saturn. Now this is, Saturn squaring anything is kind of like rough, So you could be being a little bit hard on yourself at this time, and there could be old feelings of depressive feelings and things that you just need to face within yourself, truths you need to face within yourself, and situations where trauma has occurred and where you just need to heal, like the old wounds that you just need to heal, and how you're really becoming who you're meant to be, and instead of being too caught up in the old wounds and making stories about those old wounds, it's important to look at how you've changed and how you're becoming who you're really meant to become. And it's not so much about labeling yourself and just looking at those situations objectively and being more open to just how things will turn out. So, because sometimes when these old wounds come up, it's like you start to kind of beat yourself up about them, and you kind of beat up, the choices you made in the past. And, if you just look at how far you've come and how, you've shifted and changed and become more mature, then that's going to be a more useful use of this energy rather than beating yourself up, of course, because, that's never really that productive. So anyways, Mercury in 27 degrees 41 seconds of Scorpio has been inconjunct Uranus and trine Chiron in Pisces. So this Mercury in Scorpio has been bringing up a lot of unconscious darkness, things that have been hidden away in the shadows. And with it inconjunct Uranus and trine Chiron, this is really bringing up unexpected, traumatic occurrences that have been hidden in the shadows. So, that explains a lot about what's going on right now, actually, with all these, celebrities coming forward about the traumatic experiences that they had with certain individuals, and these have been hidden in the shadows, and now all of a sudden they're being unexpectedly revealed, and it's bringing up a general topic of collective trauma, of what has happened to many women and men. A lot of sexual trauma has occurred in this world, and it's just something that a lot of people have been through, and this conversation is being brought up now. And yeah, I mean, it's being brought up to be revealed and healed so that we can understand, you know, how we can shift and move forward from these experiences. Because things have been very different in the past. Things have been way more unconscious in terms of how men treat women and how men even treat other men. And, you know, and even, you know, obviously it goes the opposite direction sometimes too with women, you know, abusing men as well at times. But yeah, it's really being brought up, especially with the way men have been treating women in more recent history, you know, with things like what Donald Trump has said in the past. And there's even this song that I, you know, heard back in the day, and the way I looked at it then is different than the way I look at it now. It's by John LaJoy. If you know it, then you might know what I'm talking about. But the way I looked at it in the past was very different than the way I look at it now. And I look at all of these situations with different glasses. You know, I have a different view of everything now. And I think everybody has a different view of everything now. Like, what has been normalized is now being, you know, we're being more aware of what's going on. We're realizing that, you know, what has been normal, you know, in the past is no longer really, when we look at it, you know, with hindsight, we're like, wait a second, this isn't normal. We shouldn't have been treated this way. We shouldn't have been objectified and whatnot, you know, terrible, you know, kind of sexual scenarios and stuff, you know, unconsensual sexual scenarios and stuff. So it's weird, just how things are shifting. And, you know, they were never right. No matter how normalized they may have been back then, those incidences were wrong, you know? And the thing is, the awareness is growing about how we should be treating each other and how, you know, we shouldn't be, you know, taking advantage of people and stuff. It's just not right. Anyways, sorry to go down that path. You know, I don't know. I don't like to always talk about recent events, but sometimes I do, but I don't. Like, sometimes I just feel like strange about it. But I mean, this one really brings that up. So yeah, and then soon the sun in Scorpio will sextile Pluto in Capricorn. So this is just bringing the darkness to light, allowing for the shadow to be lit so that we can see what's really under the surface of any situation. And hopefully it just helps us to become better people, to be more aware of what's happening, to help to transform the world. Revealing darkness may not be pretty, but it does change things. Just the act of showing the darkness changes it. It automatically transforms it, revealing that darkness just immediately almost. It's like, you know, it's an alchemical process that just happens when you communicate things to someone or just revealing those things within yourself. And looking at that just helps to make things lighter, because when you hold it in, it becomes more dense and dark, and if you keep suppressing it, it just gets worse and worse and worse. It festers, and then you just gotta be like, what's going on? Why? Like, why is this happening right now? Like, I have to tell someone about this because it just can't be this way anymore. So anyways, that's probably why this is all happening. Anyways, thanks for watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, just like, subscribe, comment, and share. Appreciate it. And yeah, talk to you again as soon as the next... Yeah, I'll just talk to you again soon. All right, bye.